This next project is a fun necklace to make. There's a few things you'll need. Some of the masking tape. I'm using here a pen which is a not too wide circumference, and it needs to be completely round, but if you've got a skewer or something, or you can use that as well, or a mandrel. I've got an assortment of beads with a large hole, big enough that will thread onto my leather. I've got a metre of leather here which will make the centre tassel, and then I've got about another metre to metre and a half, depending on the length you want, for the actual necklace. Now the first thing to do is to measure out and cut your cord for the tassels, and I've got 3 pieces here that I have cut to about 8.5 inches. And then I have 1 piece here which I've cut to around 12. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'll just put this longer piece aside for a moment, and I'm going to now take my 3 cords and get some tape and 2 pieces of tape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ends together here, and then I'm going to just tape those ends together nice and flat so that they don't run away on me. And I'm going to do the same on the other end. Now it doesn't matter that they're not exactly the same length, it's not a problem. I just mainly want to keep them together. So I'll just lay my tape down and again lay the 3 bits of cord on. Make sure I haven't twisted them. Nope, that's good. And then I'll tape these ends as well. Okay, so I'll just put that aside for a moment. Now I've got my pen, and I'm going to lay the 3 cords down over the pen so the ends are together, and then I'm going to get a little bit more tape now. And the nice thing about this tape is it's not too sticky and it won't mark your leather. So what I'll do is I'll just lay those 3 down there in the middle, and then I'll bring this one over, bring the ends together, and then I'm just going to lay these ones flat on top because I want these to sit as best I can. You need 3 hands for this project really. It would be good in craft to have a 3rd hand. Okay, there we go. So now I've got them so that they're reasonably behaving themselves and they're over the pen. Now I'm going to get my longer piece and I'm going to measure down about 7 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it at about 7 inches from one end. There we go. So that I have 1 long piece and 1 short piece. So there's my 7 inches, and then this is the shorter piece. Now to begin to work on this, I'm going to lay this loop down on top of my loops here. See that? And then I'm going to get the short end and I'm going to start wrapping it around all the loops. You'll find the first time you do this you'll be all fingers and thumbs and in a bit of a mess, but you get used to it pretty quick. It's you get there in the end. So I'm going to wrap it around a few times, and see I'm putting the wraps side by side as best I can. And then finally on my last wrap. There we go. I'm going to take this short end and I'm going to bring it through the loop. Can you see that? Through the loop. Now, I'm going to come down here and get my long piece, and I'm going to start to pull it. And as I pull it, what will happen is it will draw that little end in. You can see it happening. See it going inside there? So now I've got a nice firm knot on the front. That looks quite smart. And the back we'll trim later and give some glue to keep it firmly in place. So this will be my bail, and now I can prepare the front of the necklace. So I'll just get rid of this tape that's on here, and on the bottom as well. And just slide off. And what I'm going to do now is lay out the necklace, or the front part of this necklace, and separate out the strands so that I have the long one in the center. So I'm just going to lay them out nicely so that they're ready for me to prepare. Okay, there we are. Now obviously this long one is quite too long, but it means that if I start with this as the longest piece, where's my 3? There they are. If I start with this as my longest piece, and then the others I can adjust to sit at a nice angle as they go up. Right, now I'm ready to start adding some beads. I'm just going to put my pliers on top there to keep it in place for me so I don't have to worry about it moving about, and then I can splay out my different cords. And as I want to get a bit of a sort of angled effect on either side, I'll start on the center, and what I'm going to do is just literally just randomly play around and thread on some beads until I come up with something that I think, you know, is pleasing to me. So I'm just going to go with the little silver ones and see what I come up with. Oops. Maybe this one here. Yeah, that was there. Then that could go about maybe there. Then I could do another butterfly maybe. And maybe on here, because it's on the end, I might just do a couple. The thing is, you can use any bead, you can use coloured beads. You can literally just play around. Then how does that look? If I had maybe that there and that. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, I think that's nice. Okay, so I'll do the same with the other side, and then I'll come in and start doing some knots. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with this layout. I think I rather like it, and I can vary the lengths of the little beads, and I think that might look quite nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a knot here, and then obviously a knot here, a knot here, one here, 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 and here. So chances are, in order to do that, the beads will fall off. So it's probably wise, once you've got your layout, maybe take a little photograph on your phone or something, and that might help you remember your layout, and then you've got a picture of what you're going to do, because they'll probably fall off while you're knotting. So I'll just push them down to the end just in case, and I'll just start with this one and just do a little overhand knot here. Just very simple. And bring that up to where I want it, which is about there. And then I'll just pop this one on and see if I can manage a knot about here, which I should, if I'm lucky, just have enough leather to make it happen. If you have trouble, you can always get a pair of tweezers or pliers to grab hold of that end to pull it through. There we go. There. That's nice, because see, then I can trim that there. And now I'll just get my second one, which is my butterfly, I think, wasn't it? And that one will go, I want that knot to sit just that little bit lower, so about there. So I want that to sit about there. That's good. And now the third one, I'll need that to sit about there. So I'll just pop this little guy on. And I want him to sit just that little bit lower. So I want the knot to be about here. So obviously, as I'm getting further down, the thread's getting a little closer and a bit harder to knot. It's a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it in the end. Okay, so once I've got the knot, then I can just position the bead where I want it to be and then put my knot in place. So that needs to be a little bit lower. There we go, that looks good. Now I can tighten that. I can go back and tighten them properly, and what I'll do too is loosen them, put a drop of glue in and tighten them. Now for my center one, now that one I want to sit lower, but I also want to put another little bead up here, and I've got lots of thread, so this one's going to be a bit easier. So I want get you over there. I want one bead about here, so I'll do a knot here. Oh, it's much easier with longer thread. Okay, so I want this one up high, maybe a little lower than that. That's good. And then I'll put on my butterfly and then a bead. And then this one I want to sit, let's have a look, about there, I think. Maybe a bit higher. Yeah, about there. So that's where I want my knot. Oh, it's nice having lots of long thread. Okay, so then this one can just go in. If I keep my finger in the loop, that will then get the knot right where I want it to be. There we go. Good. So let's see how that half looks. Yep, that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I will now mirror image this side so that I have exactly the same on the other side. Now I've got them all in position and I've got all my knots pretty much in the right spot where they're meant to be. And I've put the the pen back through the bail so that I can pull on these knots and not lose my bail. But now it's down to me, and I'll just take my time now that I'm happy with the positioning, is I will just gently loosen off the knot. I'm going to put a little drop of glue in there and then pull it shut. So I'll just do one so that you can see what I'm on about, and then I'll do the rest, but I won't make you watch that. Okay, so I'm just literally going to back off, and notice the bead mat's gone because this glue's not, and bead mats don't really match together, or they don't like each other. Okay, so I'm just going to back it off a little bit and put a little drop of glue in there. It doesn't need much. And the nice thing is this glue dries clear, and then I can just squeeze it nicely closed. And I can use my fingers to clean it up, and that one's done. So I'll go on and do the rest of these, and see, by leaving this on the pen, if I pull it, it doesn't distort this. So I'm going to go through now, and I'm going to glue each of these, and then when I'm finished, I'm also going to, because here's my little bit at the back, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in and around here so that then I can trim that and not worry that this is going to come apart. So I've glued them all and trimmed them all, and I'm just going to trim the last one, and see, I just give them just, you know, a little bit of a gap and just trim them. So now I just have to leave these to dry. And that's my little fun necklace bail done. And now it's just to make the necklace. See, I've also trimmed over the back here and glued the back. So now I'll just do the necklace. Okay, now I've cut myself 3 pieces of leather for the necklace length I want, which is about 18 inches. You might like 16, you might like 20, it's really up to you, or however much leather you've got. I've trimmed these 3 ends even, and then what I'm going to do is to ensure that it is even all the way through. I'm just going to run it through my fingers. Hang on, I think I slipped then. I'll start again. Make sure it's even. Run it through your fingers, hold firmly, and then I can see if this end is even. And interestingly enough, it's not. So I'm just going to trim those nice and even. There we go. And that should be pretty good. I've got my clasp here, and I'm just going to now get my trusty glue. And now this is a magnetic clasp, so I'm going to just do both ends at the same time, I think. So I'll put 3 ends together, and I'll get the glue, and I'm really going to fill this with lots and lots of glue so that I get a really good adhesive thing happening. So I'm really filling that little pot, because it doesn't matter if it overflows, because I can always just wipe it away with my fingers. It's a rubber-based glue, so it doesn't damage my fingers or my skin in any way. Look, you can see I've got some glue all over me already, and it'll just wash off. And then I can just pop all 3 in. Nice and evenly and gooey. Ugh. There we go. Now this will take, you can see it's starting to ooze out again, but that's okay, because I can just wipe that away. It'll dry clear. So I'll just let that sit for a minute. Now what happens is this takes 10 minutes to be sort of dry or to harden, but then you need a good 24 hours or 12 to 24 hours. So what I tend to do is do my gluing in the evening and then go to bed, because don't be tempted to touch it. So I'll just wipe away some of that messiness. And then I'm just going to leave this to sit for about 10 minutes before I do the other end. But all that remains to do before I glue the other end in is I've got my little piece here which is still drying, and I'm just going to put, this is a very easy necklace to make, I'm just going to put my 3 ends through here. And there we go. And that will be really lovely. And all I need to do actually is when I've given this its 10 minutes, I'm going to come back in and then I'm going to put these 3 in this end here. So it's almost finished. So here we are, all finished. Obviously I have to now wait for the glue to dry, which I hate, so I can't wear it, but I've made it in this nice neutral colour with just silver beads, because that way I can wear it with pretty much anything in my wardrobe, even just plain black.